This week's channel message is clear and easy to understand, but it is deep, you guys. It is all about how giving us a real understanding about how our consciousness will be different, how our consciousness will form our reality in a really different way once we move through this big shift in consciousness. And it describes how the role of the angels will change because of it. It's a profound message, and I'm super excited to share it with you guys. So welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here. And for those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Ann Tucker. I'm a trance channel. I channel from the angelic realm. And I do that by going into a deep meditation or trance. And from that state, I raise my awareness up as high as I can go. And I go a little higher. I connect. And then messages, information, and healing comes through. And I share it here with you guys on YouTube. And this week's message it's a great one. Lots of beautiful, beautiful passages. My thing is like covered in pink. So I'm like, oh, I love this. It's so beautiful. But yeah, and it gives us, like I said, a really deep understanding that in the new, after we move through the shift in consciousness, which for those of you who are new to the channel, there is a significant flash of light coming, which the angels say we will look back on and say that is the moment that everything changed. And as we go through this, we will begin to form a new reality from inside of us. And we will no longer have karma in the same way that we have had. We will separate. We go through a whole process of separating from our karma. And then we will move into a new state of being where we are hyper conscious in the now moment. And so this message describes what that's going to be like and how we will be able to do it and what how they're going to help us. So it is, I think, an incredibly useful message, and also gives us a place to understand where we're trying to go. Like, what is the goal, what we're trying to head to, and how is it going to benefit us? So it's a fascinating message. And those of you who want to know more about, like, specifically, like even like those places about, like, okay, how do we separate from our karma, and what is that experience going to be like, and what am I supposed to do? Then you can get my new book, which is this one. It's called What's Coming Next, and it'll tell you all about it. And those of you who have bought it, thank you so much. And you guys, I asked you guys to leave comments or leave reviews on Amazon, and you guys crushed it. Thank you so much. So my goal was to get 100, and you guys blew right past it, and it just absolutely made me so happy. So thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I really appreciate. And you guys didn't just leave, like I said, you guys didn't leave just like a stars. You guys went in and like wrote meaningful things, and I read every one, and I'm so, so grateful. So thank you so much for your beautiful support. So, okay. The message today, you guys are going to love it, and I hope you have a great weekend. We bring through the joyous news of your fortitude and clairvoyance into the new tomorrow. The sensations that are rising amongst you now carry within them the vibration of succeeding, of having already beyond hope, but a foundational understanding of your eventuality in a higher vibration. We speak to you now of an unfolding, of the grasping of what was and releasing. That which shall tell yourselves a new story cannot yet be found in the libraries of which you are used to. It is an understanding that will evolve as you come into the form of what you shall be. This next instantiation of self, of soul, shall tell the volume of who you are in the context of a new world. You shall come to terms with what shall be held at this higher plateau of evolution. Within this new framework, all that is you shall come to bear fruit. All you have been, all you have known, all that moves through you shall come into the tune and vibration of a higher seeker. The self that you are has been known in the context and formation of a world that is limitation, that has struggle, that is foundationally limited. In the new world that is rising from within you, no such context exists. It shall be a formation that evolves through yourselves, but within a frequency much higher, within the context of understanding that arrives upon the new waves forming. The structure of tomorrow bends to you. It reaches down to your own vibration and pulls from you, through you, what shall be potential. And into this potentiality, the world shall structure itself. Thus, the more you rise, the more you allow life to flow through you, ease and tranquility, with the reformation of what shall become, the greater the up leveling can produce. We say that what you have found within your own destiny are the markers of what is real to your own understanding. What you have come across in the lives as they have been unfolding have been predetermined in large part by your own potent preview of a world and a life that you were meant for. But in this next station of what shall be performed, no such follow through has been performed. There is not a structured cross or path that you will be placed onto. The world is a horizon that is yet unmet, and what shall move through you shall be performed as it aligns with what is your truth. There shall not be the same predetermined measures as you are accustomed to. The new reality is a plateau of uncertain destiny, wherein you shall rise into the role previously met by your higher self. You shall become the soul that determines the path. The pathway need not be regulated as we have done until now. You need not rely upon our guidance to the same degree, for there will not be the same chaotic measure of experience in the new reality. In today's livelihoods, in the experience of living, there comes to pass a frequency of experience which can be determined in many ways, in many different orchestrations, not all of which are preferable. And we are relied upon to instigate what avenues are in your best predetermined outcome. We do waylay those experiences, which, though they may be in alignment and coherence with what is you now, they would not deliver to you an outcome that is in coherence with your goals and aims for this lifetime. This avenue of expression of our abilities will no longer be needed once you have discovered your potential for rising into your higher expression. You shall become unhindered. You shall become untethered. You shall become more free. Within the new potentiality, all horizons are as yet unmet. All can be found from within you as it currently involves. All can be portrayed from your own thought and heartfelt feelings. But that which evolves into the moment need not be chaotic. You shall be able to concentrate your awareness in profound ways that are not yet available to you. You shall have as your ability the profound understanding of all that is potential that rises in the moment, and we shall aid you thus we shall come to terms with what is your power of concentration and amplify your own potential for understanding by bridging the gap between what is your own focal point and what it is that you may gather. An extension of your awareness we can become. This is how we shall be occupied in the times that are not yet met. And we say to the self, as the horizon approaches, as all that you are rises to be met in the uncertainty of tomorrow, that who you shall become determines the volubility of all uncertainty in the new reality. Who shall you rise to become between now and then? How shall you fuel your potential for loving expression? The self as you are has many cavernous ideas and religions, states of belief within oneself and about reality. And within these, there are woundings, placements of hesitation and limitation. And these will not travel into the separation from this reality. But who you are as a result of these experiences must be brought through these real, focal objectives so that the curation of your potential can emerge, so that the full volume of your soul can be spoken into this form that you take now. Who are you truly? What have you meant to yourself? These are the questions that shall add to the potential of the new world. Thus we say, engage now in your own curation. Engage now in your own excavation. Discover yourselves fully. The new world waits for you. Okay, so there is a lot to this message, and there's a lot of layers to it, and there's some really beautiful parts, like I said, that I've been underlining that I'm excited to talk through with you guys. So let's go ahead and break it down. So, all right, in the first paragraph, they say, we bring through the joyous news of your fortitude and clairvoyance into the new tomorrow. So clairvoyance is that perceiving things into the future, seeing what's coming. And they say the sensations that are rising amongst you now carry within them the vibration of succeeding, of having already beyond hope, but a foundational understanding of your eventuality in a higher vibration. So what they're saying here is that we have moved beyond hope, that we used to be just hopeful that we were going to get to this new state of consciousness. Now we've moved beyond that into this sensation that we really believe this is happening, that we are really embracing and embodying the idea that we are moving into the new shift. So they're saying, congratulations, this is joyous news that you are seeing the future, right? Clairvoyant. And we're seeing ourselves as this higher state of consciousness. So like first they start off and they say like, yay, you're holding the vibration, you're embodying this as your new reality. And then they say, we speak to you now of an unfolding of the grasping of what was and relaxing. So this, or releasing, excuse me. This is, now they're telling us this is what the message is going to be about. So now that we know we are holding the vibration of our future, they say now what we're going to talk to you about is that it's the unfolding of the grasping of what was and the releasing. So grasping here is two meanings, right? There, when you grasp something, it's the aha moment of like, now I really understand it. I grasp the concept. I get it, right? And that is understanding ourselves. Then there's also the grasping, which is when we are clinging to what we don't want to leave behind. We're grasping at straws. We're grasping at, like, we're trying to hold on to things that we don't want to let go. So they're really talking about two things: is the unfolding of ourselves, opening ourselves, really excavating who we are on the inside. This is what they're going to be talking about, the need to, and through that process, the letting go of things and moving on. But so it's the grasping. We have to unfold, we have to understand, and then we have to release. So this is what this is about. And so this is kind of the subject of the message. So next paragraph here, they're talking about our new reality, and they're saying that this is where this message has many places that it gets deep and very, very interesting. But they're saying that we will be creating the new reality from inside of us, which we do now, but we're going to be creating it in a different way in the future. So they say that which shall tell yourselves a new story cannot yet be found in the libraries which you are used to. It is an understanding that will evolve as you come into the form of what you shall be. So, in other words, the new reality is we're going to understand it. We can't lean into our old knowledge. We can't do things the way we used to do. We can't go to the old libraries, right? It's a brand new book that hasn't been written. So they say this next instantiation of self, the soul, shall tell the volume of who you are in the context of a new world. And I love that you use the word volume here. They're saying, so it has two meanings again. In the next instantiation of self, in the next version of who we are, the soul shall tell the volume of who you are. So a volume means both, like a book, because think about it like a volume, like an encyclopedia comes in many different volumes. So like in the olden days that you would get like a book encyclopedias, and you get like the W volume would have like all the things in it related to W. So it's like a book, a volume is a book, but then it's also how do you measure how much like a jar contains or a glass contains? You measure the volume. What the container will hold is the measurement is called the volume. So how much light will you hold? How much love will you hold? So this is that you shall come to terms, or say the soul shall tell the volume of who you are in the context of a new world. So the volume of who you are is how much of you can you hold, and this will be the book, right? The new volume that we're in the new library that is not yet created. So it's a really cool how they within the paragraph how they the play on words and the way that they explain it is of course awesome because they are awesome. Yeah. So then they say, okay. You shall come to terms with what shall be held at this higher plateau of evolution. Next paragraph, they say, within this new framework, all that is you shall come to bear, excuse me, within this new framework, all that is you shall come to bear fruit. So, and I highlighted that because it's that idea that everything you've been working on, all parts of yourself that you've been trying to understand, trying to heal, all of this comes to bear fruit in the new reality. All you have been, all you have known, all that moves through you shall come into the tune and vibration of a higher seeker. So it's kind of like everything gets tied up with a neat little bow, and it all comes into the vibration of you at this higher level of being. The next paragraph, they say, the self that you are has been known in the context and formation of a world that is limitation, that has struggle, that is foundationally limited. So this is the reality we've been living in, and who you are has been, you've had to be yourself in this very limiting context, which puts up a lot of barricades in terms of really how much of us we can be. If you're kind of born into this really tight box, it's like, how much can you move around? So, and foundationally here, they say it's foundationally limited. In other words, it is like in a very basic and important way, it is limitation. That's what this sort of 3D has been. They go on to say, in the new world that is rising from within you, no such context exists. In other words, there is no limitation. It shall be a formation that evolves through yourselves, but within a frequency much higher, within the context of understanding that arrives upon the new ways of forming. So, in other words, the new reality will still evolve through us, just like the current reality does, but we will be different. We will be at this much higher vibration. So we will be creating the new reality from a higher state of consciousness, which creates a higher reality. Okay, so without the limitation that they've been talking about. All right, next paragraph. And I sectioned off this whole paragraph. I love this paragraph and I think it's really important. So here's what they say. They say, the structure of tomorrow bends to you. It reaches down to your own vibration and pulls from you, through you, what shall be potential. So to me, this is saying, okay, what is tomorrow going to be? It is undefined. It is not yet determined what the new reality is going to be like. So it is at kind of like this potential up here. And they say it will bend down to us to meet us. As we rise up to meet it, it bends down to meet us. The new earth kind of bends down to find us as we're reaching up. And then it's going to pull down like through us, from us, and then we determine what the potential is. So this makes a ton of sense, this idea that we determine what our own potential is. So think of this from the perspective of, and I was channeling about this with the angels just recently, and they were trying to show me the concept of how humanity limits our own potential. And it's based on what we accept as possible for us. And so, like, we've all agreed that humans can't fly, but what if we could? Like, what if we could fly? That'd be awesome. So it's really like, can we expand our idea of what humans can do? And when I was channeling about this with the angels, what they showed me was the Olympics. They said, okay, there have been many, many times that there were records that were like, this is the fastest anyone can run, or the fastest anyone can swim this event. And then something would happen, that record would stand for like a decade, and then boom, all of a sudden somebody would shatter that record. And then as soon as they did, a bunch of other people could do the same thing. And so all that change was that in our minds, we set a new high point for what humanity could do, for what the human body was capable of. And then all of humanity conformed to that new high. So this is kind of what they're referring here to, is that what are we willing to accept as limitations? Are we willing to say we are infinite beings, we can create anything we want? Or are we going to say, well, yeah, but within this context, like there's only I can't fly, which, yeah, I really don't think I can actually fly, not in that way, but I would love to stretch my ability to conceive of myself as a being who could fly, and then to have it happen, that'd be incredible. But what if there's so many things that we could do that are not, that maybe are adjacent to what we currently do, that would expand our abilities, expand our potential. And so they're saying here that we have these concepts of what's possible for a human, and they limit us. And the new reality will stretch down to where we are today. But this is really important, because in the new reality, our consciousness will expand, and there will be things that are available to us to do that we cannot conceive of just yet. And so they're really trying to bring this to our awareness, that how do we limit ourselves unknowingly? Can we see ourselves in a new light, in an expanded state, where potentially there's abilities, there's options available to us that were never available before? So, and then they go on to say, and into this potentiality, the world shall structure itself. So it bends to us. We create the limitation. We create, what do we think is possible for us? And then the world will conform to that. Thus, the more you rise, the more you allow life to flow through you with ease and tranquility, with the information of what shall become, the greater the upleveling can produce. So we have all kinds of limiting beliefs. And if we can let go of those limiting beliefs, then all of a sudden our new reality becomes much brighter. And if we can expand the idea of what humans can be, then that expands, right? Then that becomes a potential. That becomes something that could manifest in the new reality. So the idea is to allow life to flow through you. Think of those limitations as like contractions. Like everywhere we believe we have a limitation, where we say, yeah, I can't do that it just tightens it a little bit, and less life can flow through us. Less potential can flow through us. We cut down our options and we create a tighter box for ourselves. All right, next paragraph. They say, we say that what you have found within your own destiny are the markers of what is real to your own understanding. So here they're talking about how we plan our lives before we get here. Like how, and I've seen this in my own dreams, and I actually have seen myself planning this life, which was amazing to see the process that I went through and really what it looked like is I was identifying the key moments that were critical on my journey. Like the moment that I would have met important romantic partners, the moment that I would have, these major junction points in my life where this had to happen in order to kind of cue up the next several series of things that were meant to happen to keep me on a particular path. And so we each have these. We have these predetermined, these destiny points. So that's what they're talking about here. We say that what you have found within your own destiny are the markers of what is real to your own understanding. And this, in other words, this helps to create our reality. These markers, these destinies, they move through us. We create our reality. This is what it is. What you have come across in the lives as they have been unfolding have been predetermined in large part by your own potent preview of a world in a life that you were meant for. So in other words, there's a lot of things about our current lives. There's a lot of places where we have enormous free will, but then there's guardrails. I think of it as like if you've ever gone bowling where they put up the bumpers on the side and your ball can never go in the gutters. Like that's kind of how our lives are, is we can go all over the bowling lane. You know what I mean? We can go everywhere on the lane, but if we ever go in the gutter, those bumpers are there to kind of keep us going in the general direction we're meant to go. And that's how it's been. So, but there's a lot of it that's predetermined. And then they say, but in this next station of what shall be performed, no such follow through has been performed. There is not a structured cross or path that you will be placed into. So this is a major difference between where we are today and where we are going in the new earth. That in the new earth, they're saying we will not have a life plan in the same way that we do now. We won't have these structured destiny markers that we're meant to hit. It's not going to be like that. And it's so interesting how they refer to it. There is not a structured cross. So a cross, again, can mean more than one thing. A cross could be like crossing a valley, crossing a river. A cross is crossing from one side to the other. It's bridging a gap, right, between two things. But a cross also refers to like the crucifixion or the cross to bear. So what are your obstacles in life? What are the difficult things that you have to work through in your life? That is your cross to bear in a life. And in order to get across, right, the obstacle. So it's both. It's the thing you have to get across, and it's also the weight that you have to bear it. And so this is really referring to the fact that we will not have karma or a cross to bear in the new reality. We will be freed from our karma. They go on to say that the world is, okay, so that we won't have a cross to bear or the path that you will be placed onto. So in other words, that we won't have the same obstacles, we won't have the same karma, and it will not be a path in the same way that it's been. It's a lot more like being placed in an open field of potential, but we're given a lot more understanding of how to work with that raw potential. So think of it like if you were an artist and you were just starting out, and so the first thing they gave you was color by numbers, or they gave you like color in like what you get as a little kid is like you get a coloring book and it's got pictures and you're supposed to color in the lines. And that's what our lives has been. We've been pretty much coloring inside the lines, and you get to pick the colors. And sometimes we go outside the lines, and sometimes we, whatever you're going to do with your, coloring sheet. But when we graduate into the new reality, we're given a blank canvas and we get to make whatever we want on it. And it's infinite potential, right? And then that whatever comes out on it has to come through us. So this is a much better metaphor for what it's going to be like. Yeah, and really funny to think about current life as coloring sheets, but it fits. It really fits. So, okay, next paragraph. They say the world is a horizon that is as yet unmet, and what shall move through you shall be performed as it aligns with your truth. With what is your truth? There shall not be the same predetermined measures as you are accustomed to. The new reality is a plateau of uncertain destiny, right? Wherein you shall rise into the role previously met by your higher self. You shall become the soul that determines the path. So this is it. So it's an uncertain destiny. It's infinite potential. This is what the new earth will be like for us. And that it'll be the blank canvas, and you become the planner of your life in reality, in the moment. Everything happens in the now. Right? Super, super different structure for a human life and for our consciousness. It's just amazing to think about. All right, next paragraph. They say the pathway need not be regulated as we have done until now. You need not rely upon our guidance to the same degree, for there will not be the same chaotic measure of experience in the new reality. So this is the angel saying that we rely on them right now to help us enormously to try to navigate this path that we're on. And they're saying that we're not going to need the same help because we're not going to have a karma. It's not going to be as chaotic. It's going to be a very different experience of the world. And they say, in today's livelihoods, in the experience of living, there comes to pass a frequency of experience which can be determined in many ways, in many different orchestrations, not all of which are preferable. So in other words, the way that we live today is that you are emanating, each of us is emanating a vibration that becomes into resonance with lots of potential outcomes. And some of those are going to be really positive for us and are going to help us on our path. And some of those are going to knock us off our path. And one of the roles that angels do is they see all those potential outcomes and they see the ones that are going to keep us on path and they allow those to come through. And then they see the ones that are going to knock us off our path and they prevent those from coming toward us. So an example of this would be, say that you are radiating the vibration of like, oh my gosh, I really need a break. Like I've been working super hard. I need a break. So then you've got two potential things are in resonance with that. One of them is a car crash, which would certainly give you a break, right? You're going to stop what you're doing because you had a car crash. The other option is you get like someone offers you like to stay at their guest house. You're like, yay, that's great, you know? So let's say that the car crash would really throw you off your course. The angels are going to prevent the car crash and give you the guest house. So that's kind of how one of the ways that angels have helped us in reality creation for ourselves in this reality. So they say that, yeah, so they deflect the things that are not going to give us the orchestrations that are not preferable. And they say, and we are relied on, the angels are relied on to instigate what avenues are in your best predetermined outcome. So they look for the things that are going to help us towards our goal for our life. They go on to say, we do waylay those experiences, which though they may be in alignment and coherence with what is you now, they would not deliver to you an outcome that is in coherence with your goals and aims for this lifetime. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. So then they go on to say, this avenue of expression of our abilities will no longer be needed once you have discovered your potential for rising into your highest expression. So in other words, in the new reality, they won't do that anymore. They will no longer need to kind of be in the outfield pushing away the things that we don't want, because the world is not going to respond in the same way anymore. It will be structured differently. So their role changes. They say, you shall become unhindered, you shall become untethered, you shall become more free, because we won't be on a path. We won't be on a structured path with destiny points anymore. All right, then they say, within the new potentiality, all horizons are as yet unmet. All can be found from within you as it currently evolves. All can be portrayed from your own thought and heartfelt feelings. And that's exactly how reality is structured today. They're saying right now we create a reality. In the future, we will also create a reality. But they say, but that which evolves into the moment need not be chaotic. You shall be able to concentrate your awareness in profound ways that are not yet available to you. So I've totally highlighted this section. This is how we will be different, how we change, therefore our reality changes. So in the future, we will no longer need to be on a karmic path with destiny points that's pre-planned for us. We were allowed to be set down in front of the blank canvas of reality with infinite potential. And we will have the ability to concentrate our awareness in profound ways that are not yet available to us. And they go on to say, you shall have as your ability the profound understanding of all that is potential that rises in the moment. So just imagine that what they're saying is that imagine that you are in the current moment and that you're able to see all the potential outcomes in front of you, a little bit like if you've ever opened up Google Maps and there's multiple ways to get to your destination and it tells you how many minutes it takes to get to each place. You're like, if I can go, 4 or 5, it's going to take me, 30 minutes, and I go the other freeway, it's going to take me 25 minutes. And so it gives you the information. You can see the potential routes that you could take. And that's a little bit what this will be like. We'll be in the present moment. And it will be like we have this expanded awareness where we're able to look in front of us and say, oh, well, I could do it this way or this way or this way. I could paint a mountain here. I could paint a red lake here. And you can see the potential outcome of each thing. So you can hold many realities, in a sense, potentials at once, and you can choose the best one or the one you want to explore. Because the truth is there isn't a best, there's just different. What do you want to experience, right? And that will be our heightened awareness, our expanded consciousness will allow us to do this, which is really amazing. You shall have as your ability the profound understanding of all that is potential that rises in the moment. So in any moment, there's going to rise up. And it's not like all of us will see into the future forever. We will be aware of every potential and we can choose based on that, right? Which is pretty incredible. And then they say this is how their role changes because they're no longer going to be in the outfield, right? Trying to keep us on our bowling lane. They're going to instead, they say, and we shall aid you thus. We shall come to terms with what is your power of concentration and amplify your own potential for understanding by bridging the gap between what is your own focal point and what it is that you may gather. So, in other words, like we will have this incredibly expanded consciousness, this ability to see multiple potentials, multiple outcomes in the moment, to be able to stand in front of the blank canvas and see all potentials and make decisions based on this. And they will add their awareness to ours. So angels, understanding that angels are different from humans, is that humans, we are the spark of the divine. We have the ability to create a reality from inside of us. This is how we move. We move into a room and immediately we change the room because we are emanating who we are into that space. And it is reflecting back to us who we are. So we are literally the divine creator in every environment that we stepped into. Angels can create, like they can say, okay, I want to turn this phone into a loaf of bread. They can do that, but they do not emanate a reality from inside of them. They can be in a space, but the space doesn't become who they are. And so they are not the spark of God. They are the light of the divine. We are the spark of the divine. They are the light of the divine. The light of the divine is awareness. So what they bring is, and that's why we call them messengers. We call them messengers because, say, for example, you were to say a prayer, to speak to your guides, to your angels, to your source, and that comes out. And the angels, if they want to send that out to the all that is, the angels will give it their awareness, and that awareness connects it to the all that is. It is the awareness of the divine. So it is that light of the divine that they bring. It's an expanded state of awareness. So whereas in the past they were saying that their role in helping us to create was to kind of be the outfield and make sure that we didn't get things that weren't going to be aligned with our goals for the life. Now they will shine, that we will be in a state of expanded consciousness, and they will shine their light on our consciousness, allowing us to see a little bit further, allowing us to gather, right? And what it is you may gather, expanding what we can gather. How much more can we perceive than we normally would be able to? They will be amplifying that, which is really, really cool. So, then they say, an extension of your awareness we can become. This is how we shall be occupied in the times that are not yet met. Like really, really amazing. All right, next paragraph. They say, and we say to the self, as the horizon approaches, as all that you are rises to be met in the uncertainty of tomorrow, that who you shall become determines the volubility of all uncertainty in the new reality. So there's a lot of words in this paragraph, so we should take it apart. So, and we say to the self as the horizon approaches, so in other words, the horizon meaning the new reality approaches, that as all that you are rises to be met in the uncertainty of tomorrow. And here the uncertainty is a good thing because it means infinite potential, that it is not defined. We're not on a life plan, right? The uncertainty, it's the unknown, which is full of potential. That who you shall become determines the volubility of all uncertainty. So who you shall become now in the current moment, how much are we willing to expand in the moment? How much more of our soul are we willing to integrate in the moment? Because the scope of who we are will determine the flow that's available to us in the new reality, the flow of potential. So volubility, the word volubility means a couple of things, of course. It means volubility is to have like confident, fluent expression, like to be to be glib, to have a way with words, to be the confident and expressive. But here they're talking about your soul, to be fluently expressive of your soul. How fluently expressive are we? That's the thing we're trying to achieve, is to be so confident in our soul, to have so much self-love. In other words, total acceptance of ourself and all of our experiences and everything we've ever done. And there's nothing that we're trying not to see or trying to avoid or wishing we hadn't felt. All of that, all the things we wish we hadn't, we have to accept and integrate all of that back to our core, back to our heart. And as we do, we are able to better and better and better express our soul. We have volubility, right? So who you shall become now, by doing that process of accepting the depth of our experience, the depth of our truth, then that determines our volubility, our ability to express our soul of all the volubility of all uncertainty in the new reality. So really, how much potential, how much, how big of a canvas do we want in the new reality? And the more work we do now, the bigger our canvas will be, is what they're trying to tell us. The more of our soul we can currently embody, it's almost like, think of it this way, like if you can remember back to when you were young, like let's just say 14, when you were 14 years old, you were you, but you were a lot less mature than you are today. And your ideas about things, your ability to roll with the punches, your ability to understand life, to understand people, to understand yourself, it was just a lot less rich. You just hadn't had enough time to develop the depth of like a model for understanding yourself, your truth, your reality, other people, everything, right? You have a lot more awareness now than you did then. Well, it's like maturity. It's like that. And the more work we do, the more maturity we get. And so if you can imagine the gap between where you were when you were a kid and where you are today, then how much further can we push that dial? Can we get that much more mature? Can we get that much more depth of understanding of ourself by integrating all these parts of ourself? And the more that we do, the more whole of a soul we become, the richer our dialogue about ourselves and through ourselves becomes. And that expands the canvas for everyone. So that's what they're trying to tell us. So then they say, who shall you rise to become between now and then, between now and when the flash of light comes, between now and when we expand to this higher state of consciousness? How shall you fuel your potential for loving expression of yourself? All right, the self as you are has many cavernous ideas and religions, states of belief within oneself, and about reality. And so in other words, and a cavernous means the vast, dark depths. So this is you, right? This is me. This is all of us. We have vast, dark depths of ideas and religions and states of belief about ourselves and within ourselves and about reality, right? So we have all this, there's deep stuff in there, they're saying. And within these, there are woundings, placements of hesitation and limitation. And remember what limitation does is it narrows the canvas. It makes it smaller because we think, oh, I can't do that. That's not possible for me, right? That's not possible for humans. We make it smaller and smaller and smaller. And then they say these, meaning the woundings, these will not travel into the separation from this reality. So we know we separate from our karma when we come here. So the woundings don't come. But they say, but who you are as a result of these experiences, the way that they changed you, the way that you grew through them, and that's assuming that we grow through them, that we have to get to the space where we can look back and understand and accept and love ourselves in those limitations. Then that's who we became as a result of it, right? Those must be brought through. Who you are must be brought through these real focal objectives so that the curation of your potential can emerge. And I love the word curation for this. The curation of your potential can emerge. So curation is a word that you would use so it's defined as selecting, organizing, and looking after the items in a collection or exhibition. Like you use it, curating a valuable collection in a museum, something that's rare, something that's special. You don't curate junk, you curate good stuff. Like there's a reason you want to organize it and sort it and take care of it, look after it because it's valuable. So they love the choice of words to describe the curation of our soul. It's a beautiful way to talk about it. But that's what we're trying to do we're trying to notice, become hyper aware in these last years before we go through this experience of this shift in consciousness, to truly try to curate our soul, to look through and see how can we grow through the things that feel like hardship, through our vulnerabilities, through the things we don't want to feel. How can we grow through these? How can we feel what's meant to be felt? How can we let everything come to the surface so that we can see it and then we can curate it, right? We grow through it so that our potential can emerge, so that the full volume of your soul can be spoken into this form that you take now, right? How much more of our soul can we hold? And they go on to say, who are you truly? What have you meant to yourself? These are the questions that shall add to the potential of the new world. Thus, we say, engage now in your own curation. Engage now in your own excavation. Discover yourselves fully. The new world waits for you. I love that. I mean, it's just wow, 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 wow. It's just so, it's uplifting, it's beautiful, it's inspiring. And yes, they're telling us we got to face our junk. Yes. And you guys know, if you want help with that process, you guys know I have Soul Convergence, and Soul Convergence is the process that I have for going into particularly these incredible formative years between really the womb and age 7. And Soul Convergence is it's an intensive, extremely intensive, engaging process. It's deep, deep work, but it works. It genuinely works to help you to excavate and curate your soul. It's a marvelous program. So we start again. I think the next one is in January, and there's information on my website if you want to know more about that. So you guys, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing this message with me today. It has truly, like, I learn so much more when we talk about this stuff. I always see new things, and I get more out of it by talking it through with you. So I'm really, thank you. I'm very, very grateful for this community that we have together on the channel. So thanks, you guys. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next Friday Live. Bye, you guys.